I was on holiday in Wellington, the capital of New Zealand, walking through its streets surrounded by skyscrapers on all sides. But suddenly, a beautiful old building appeared amid a jungle of glass and concrete. But why would such a building be in the center of a city? Who built it, and why? This is the story of the Wellington Public Trust Office. It all starts with a Scottish architect by the name of John Campbell. Born in 1853 in Glasgow, he moved across the planet at the age of 25 to New Zealand. Brought with him a love of Edwardian Baroque architecture. The Edwardian Baroque style emerged in the 1900s as an architectural successor to the Victorian building era. It was a revival of traditional Baroque architecture, a theatrical Renaissance-derived style which emerged from Italy in the late 16th century. Borrowing most of its design features from the Baroque period, but using design philosophies more common in the Victorian era, Edwardian Baroque elegantly fills a unique space on my architectural palette with its domes, columns, and arches. As is typical of Baroque architecture, the Public Trust Office primarily consists of a light New Zealand granite foundation, and granite embellishments as well. It also consists of a deep red brick typical of the Victorian era, which creates a striking juxtaposition between the two materials, and really emphasizes the granite features. Perhaps the most striking material incorporated into the building's design is the copper roof plating, which has, over time, transformed into a tarnished verdigris. Such an unusual color pairs well with the unusual shape of the dome, pleasantly crowning the building. The granite foundations of the Trust Office are heavily rusticated. Rusticated masonry takes advantage of shadow to accentuate depth and create detail in the otherwise drab lower levels of the building. Banded rustication can be seen here, accentuating the arched windows of the ground level. The main entrance and upper levels are adorned with Ionic columns, another Baroque staple. The columns are primarily used to frame windows and as the base of structural arches. The unfluted shafts are lightly horizontally banded, much like the ground level, such that the detail lines are parallel rather than perpendicular. Dentils are used to exaggerate the borders between the three distinct sections of the building. Dentil-lined protrusions physically and visually separate the foundation, the columned section, and the rooftop. The Trust Office sports Ionic pediments which match its Ionic capitals and lend further towards the arbitrarily feminine nature of the building. Interestingly, the architect has decided to use both pointed and arched pediments right next to each other in an unorthodox hybrid choice mirrored by Campbell's decision to use both arched windows and square windows in equal measure. In addition to the arched and square windows, the Trust Office also sports a few round windows at the top level, referred to as œil de bœuf. In addition to being fun to say, the inclusion of an œil de bœuf complements the circinate nature of the domes, towers, and arches which comprise the building's design fundamentals, as well as introducing light to the topmost levels of the office. And finally, the most striking feature for me personally, the beautiful verdigris dome which caps and, in my opinion, defines the entire structure. The Edwardian Baroque style is all about domes, and the Wellington Public Trust Office is no exception, with its large ribbed rooftop feature. Wellington suffers from approximately 200 moderate earthquakes a year, so how has a century-old building survived while being surrounded by skyscrapers? Well, it hasn't. The building suffered damage from earthquakes in 1923, 1942, and in 2013. However, unlike many of the other buildings which once surrounded it, the Public Trust Office was always restored completely faithful to its original design. Unlike other nearby buildings which have received modern updates, the Public Trust Office has not been externally modified for its current usage. A lot of buildings these days have had their identity completely changed by modern extensions and improvements, so I'm thankful that the Public Trust Office remains a pure and beautiful example of Edwardian Baroque architecture. Thanks for watching.